And this one is a head-to-head strategy game that offers a bunch of different modes to play. You can be trying to control different areas on the map or trying to reach a certain point amount by eliminating characters on your opponent's team. But this one is also my own personal pick of the week. And the reason that I think this one is so interesting is because you will have a main map where you're going to be moving your characters out on that board. But then each player is also going to have a screen, and behind that screen you're going to have a mini map. And at the start of each round, players are going to be pre-programming the movements of each of their characters out on the main board. And this isn't a completely new idea. We have seen this in a lot of other games, but the thing that I like about the way that it's implemented here is that although you are pre-programming that movement, it doesn't completely dictate what you're going to be doing during your turn, because players are going to be alternating back and forth, choosing which of those movements they want to activate, and then checking for line of sight as they move around on the board. And anytime that you are in line of sight of an enemy, you have to engage in combat. And this whole concept of pre-programmed movement, but then also taking turns performing your actions, is going to create a really great combination of planning and then rolling through the punches as you execute on your plan. But when you do hit that line of sight and you do engage in combat, there's a few things that players are going to have to consider, because there's going to be different bonuses granted to each of the players depending on their situation and the gear that they might have. The first thing that players are going to check is which way are each of the characters facing that are involved in the battle, because as you're moving your characters around on the board, you're going to be facing them in different directions, and if you're facing directly towards your enemy, that's going to be moving you up on this track, which is going to give you a bit of a bonus when it comes to resolving that combat. You'll also be getting weapon bonuses depending on how far you are away from your opponent, and if you have a weapon that's better equipped for long range or shorter range combat. And it's these types of things that are going to be setting up the initial state of the battle and giving an edge to one of the players or the other. But then the rest of the combat is resolved through dice rolling and simultaneously revealing of any combat cards. Players will have access to a different number of dice depending on the weapon that they use, and you can choose how you want to split up those dice between 3 different types. There's dice that help with your agility and your ability to get out of the way of bullets, dice that help you aim and improve the likelihood of landing a hit, and then you have your aggression dice that just dictates how much you are putting into that battle and how many bullets are flying. These all affect the battle in different ways, but essentially dictate how many hits you get and how much damage you're doing to your opponent. And then players will also get a chance to add any combat cards that they have in their hand to modify the outcome of the battle in different ways. Players will choose those in secret and then simultaneously reveal, and then apply the effects of those cards. Usually the outcome of a combat means that one of your characters will be eliminated while the other one will stay in the battle. But this is Call of Duty, and there is a possibility that both of you will end up killing each other. The game's been designed to be super easy to play, and line of sight is just outlined straight on the board, so you don't have to worry about measuring or worrying about if there are different things in the way blocking your line of sight, because if there's a line between the different spaces that your characters are in, then it means that they can see each other. I am a fan of making things as easy as humanly possible within a board game, and I think they did an excellent job with this game, which is one of the reasons that I did make it my pick of the week. And even though they did a great job of keeping things simple here, as you get more comfortable with the game, they did also include all sorts of modules that you can add to the game and add a bit more complexity. There's modules for adding things like kill streaks that will give you bonuses for getting a certain amount of kills, and then there's also tactical ability cards that will give players even more options on their turns. There's also weapon upgrades that you can spend to upgrade your weapons and get more dice added to your pool. But then there's also the options for players to create their own custom combat decks at the start of the game, allowing you to choose what type of loadout and playstyle that you want to try and attempt. And if this one does sound interesting to you, I do recommend checking out callofdutyboardgame.com and signing up to get notified of its launch, because that will add a free K9 unit promo card and miniature to your game completely for free.